picking up some speed. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. So this is Batman issue 9. So finally, the story's picking up, or at least it's been picking up the past 2 issues, so I should probably stop saying it's finally picking up. But we have a set direction now. Alright, we're not putting any more characters in place to introduce into this new game. Like, no. Everyone's here. Now the pieces are moving. The game is set and the league is on. So anyway, because Vandal Savage has made his deal with Mayor Isley, Poison Ivy is mayor of Gotham City. But anyway, um, Vandal Savage has now declared legal war on the Bat family because Alan Scott pointed out this is petty. This is just Vandal being petty. He wants to hurt Bruce. So with that in mind, the Bat family's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. All right, so this is not gonna be good. We're going to have to presume that we're going to have to go underground for a bit. We're going to have to lay low more than usual. So what's going to happen is we need to get those bunkers cleared of anything super important. All right, so we have Duke Thomas, the Signal, Stephanie Brown, one of 2 Batgirls, the other being Cassandra Cain, who is off in her book with Lady Shiva, so she's got something important to do. And Damian Wayne is Robin because Tim is on sabbatical. It's still in Gotham City, so this is still stupid to me. And Batman, alright? Oracle's, okay, here's what's going to happen here, alright? Batman and I, we've already worked out what needs to be done. So you're going to go to these safe houses, and you're going to these bunkers, and you're going to get these items, alright? They can't have them. They can't get a hold of them. No. They're going to be moved down to the Order of St. Dumas. They're going to keep an eye on those things for a bit. Deposit's not look. We already put in a deposit. They can hold them for a couple months after that. We gotta start paying some more, and we're just not gonna do that. So the idea is we get in, we get the stuff, we get out. All right. Everything seems fine. Batman is going to be pretty much because of what he's doing. He's going to be pretty much unable to help. All right. So you guys are on your own. Damian's going to be pretty much running interference for Duke and Steph. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Midway through, though, Bruce is met again by the ghost of Alfred, pretty much as his subconscious. Like, so, you should really talk to Damian. I don't want to talk to Damian. Look, I get it. He can't handle that little failure because you haven't prepared him to fail. And I'm thinking this whole sequence does not make sense. First of all, Damian's dealt with failure, i.e., the thing that got Alfred killed. Alright? He knows how to come back from that. Fraction seems to be very set on trying to redefine Bruce and Damian's dynamic when it was already in a very good place to begin with. They've already had, hell, and even an issue with them dealing with the death of Alfred and what led to that. So, yeah, this doesn't make sense. It feels like no matter how good of a writer you are, because I think Fraction's writing here is solid, you were still going to fall back to this terrible trope of Bruce is a bad dad, but then have him be pretty much a good dad to Tim. I'm trying to get what's going on here. It's like everything's fine until they make a mistake. And yes, that mistake that Damian made in the previous issue by calling him Batman, by calling Bruce Batman when he was out of costume, and where Damian would have known that he'd be on a date with someone who doesn't know he's Batman, was very weird. Was very out of character for Damian. A lot of people are sort of saying that. And Bruce bites his head off for it. And you know what? I felt it was fair. But this issue always wants to frame it as it was a bad thing. You need to talk to him. You let him know that he doesn't have to be infallible. And Bruce points out, well, Batman has to be infallible or people will die. And Alfred says, well, his father isn't Batman. Debatable. If you go with which is the real face argument, but whatever. So Bruce points out he doesn't quite know how to deal with this. Like, he doesn't think he's a good dad. And Alfred, as well as Jason, used to say, "Nut up, Buttercup." And I like it. Where is Jason in all this? Well, Jason's book got canceled because the writer made fun of Charlie Kirk's death. And Dick Grayson's off in Bloodhaven. So everyone that can sort of disprove the fact that Bruce is a bad dad is currently not available. So, as a gesture of good faith of showing, hey, I trust you, I know you can handle this, he and Damian switch roles. And Damian's like, are you sure? Like, I know. Trust me. And he's like, but trust the plan. I'll talk to you about it at the finish line. He's like, I trust you'll want to check my work. No, Damian. I trust you. You got this. And so Damian goes off to what he's supposed to be doing while Duke and Batgirl are going around, going to the safe houses. And I love the fact we have two different views for each of them. Like Steph, as Barrett gets to take time on her motorcycle to even knock over some police, which feels very bad. Well, I think they're part of the SWAT, the Special Task Force, but she refers to them as cops. Okay, whatever. Duke, meanwhile, is fighting for his life as the GCPD is on his tail. I'm like, wow, Vandal. Wow. So, little white girl gets to just drive off in her motorcycle. But the second the black kid's out there, we got all the trucks, all the cars there. I see you, Vandal. I see you. All right, this is the real Vandal Savage. All right, but no. Duke wants to. Duke's think of using his powers. Bad, like you cannot use your powers. If you use your powers, they're gonna escalate. All right, they get the feds involved, and that we don't want that. I'm okay. So is Damien gonna help? Damien's like, yeah. So I switched jobs. I cannot help. Batman's like, I got you, Duke. Meantime, the Damien's like, oh, thank heavens, the professionals here. He gets apparently Batman has put bat barriers in the streets of Gotham City because like four little pillars come up and they pretty much crash right into him, and it's like, we have those, like, yeah, we had some of those, but Vandal's gonna tear up the streets to get to those now. And to be fair, people of Gotham City should be more concerned now that Batman can just do that. So Steph is going into her bunker, into one of the bunkers, like, guys, there's nothing in here. Bab's like, you gotta get out of there. That's a trap. And they realize, like, oh no, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? They're gonna get Batgirl. Barb is like, I got this. So she's been busy, like, dismantling her network as well. It's just the bare minimum stuff. And Batman tells, like, I'm 12 minutes away from where she is. Like, it's fine. They know exactly what needs to be done. Babs presses the button, and all the forces converge on the clock tower, on Barbara Gordon. And she says, so, this was part of the plan. We're gonna be good. Everyone stay safe, stay alert, stay in the dark. And she says, it's been an honor. And she surrenders herself to the GCPD. Meanwhile, Damien finishes what his job was, which is to put explosives in Wayne Manor. I'm like, oh, and there's a conversation that Bruce and Damien have. And Bruce talks about the fact that, I've had years to learn how to do this job alone. You weren't part of that plan. And I'm like, okay. Thought we would have said this to Dick Grayson, it still would have been the same thing. Like, this whole dynamic trying to be like, you changed everything. And I love you for that. Like, like, I know it wasn't part of your plan. I know you didn't want me. Like, I want you. Like, like, you're my son. I'm like, okay, I get this. I get this idea as if to imply that, there was no one before Damien. Because that's how the story is framed here. It's not like, oh, Damien was this, extra element that he couldn't just move away. Like, fair enough that, Damien is his biological son. There should be a different bond that he has that's different from Dick, Jason, Tim, Babs, Steph, Duke. It should always be different than what he had with Steph anyway. I get that, but at this point in Bruce's life, he's already been referring to the Robins as his sons. All right, Chip Zdarsky's Batman run, love or hate it, he flat out said Tim isn't a soldier; he's my son. All right, Nightwing's own book, love or hate Tom Taylor, the fact that he had Dick call Bruce dad. All right, this is their dynamic, and maybe the case could be that for Damien there is no other dad. All right, just his dad, and okay, fair enough, and that's been hard for him, hard for both of them, but that would only work if this was like the first year of their relationship. They've been at this for ages. I think Damien was 12 or 13. He's, I think, 16, 7. I don't know. He's older now. They've gone through so much in just the previous Batman and Robin comic that was going on, that ended, I think, 2 months ago. All right, they've maybe even a bit more than that. This dynamic doesn't make sense, at least for me. But anyway, as they blow up Wayne Manor and hug, the comic ends with Barbara Gordon being on the news, being arrested by the GCPD, and for like helping Batman. I'm like, okay. This is how the comic ends. This is also to set up the stage for Babs' own book, which comes out next week, or at least the time this video comes out will be this week, actually. As a matter of fact, we'll post this that Wednesday. So yeah, I like this issue. I do. My issue with Damian and Bruce aside, which I think is the weakest part of this book. I'm interested to see what the fallout's gonna be from this, because Babs isn't gonna talk. All right. She's like, yeah, I know who Batman is. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't know who any of you are. I don't know what you're talking about. But how is Tim gonna deal with the fact that while all of this was happening, he was having dinner with his boyfriend, like in Gotham City? Like Tim was actually looking out, like, oh, there's police out there, huh? Back to this. Does Bernard know? No one knows for sure. How is Steph going to deal with the fact that this happened? Because Steph was the one that went into the bunker, that went into the trap. Should she have seen it earlier? How's she going to feel about Batman knowing about this? Duke, I think, is going to be fine. How Gordon's going to feel about this is another thing, because we're never quite sure what Gordon does and doesn't know in regards to Bruce, Batman, and Barbara. All right, we just had a story, not just a story, but like I think a couple years ago, pretty much at the height of the Punchline thing, where Gordon is hired to kill the Joker, and he's like, okay, and he reveals that he knows that Barbara Gordon is Oracle. I'm like, okay. Injustice, of course, revealed that hey, he knew that Babs was Batgirl the whole time, but that's Injustice, a whole separate thing. And whether or not he knows who Batman is, the understanding seems to be that he kind of knows. Like, if you put a gun to his head and he has to say it, he's going to say it's Bruce Wayne. Like, that's his good bet. He can't 100% prove it, but he's pretty sure it's Bruce Wayne. But he knows he can never speak it, he can never say it, he can never acknowledge it, because if he does, then he's definitely complicit in helping a vigilante. So, who knows? If he does know, what's his opinion going to be? What's his reaction going to be to finding out that his daughter is arrested for associating with Batman, for helping Batman? What's he going to say about him as a member of the GCPD? Is he now going to be questioned? Suspicious? What about Bullock? Oh, Montoya didn't know. Oh, where is Montoya? Anyway, that's his issue. Again, it might be my favorite so far. There's been some good ones. My question is, how does this tie into how we're going to tie this into the Minotaur and the whole Dr. Zeller and the Crown of Storms and Joker. Joker's going to get out, and he's going to be like, it's a shame. It's a shame I told you not to let me out. Now I got to mess stuff up. But overall, fun. When will Huston be able to make his play? We don't know. But anyway, with that in mind, it's to close you. If you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, if you would like, comment, share, subscribe, smash the thumbs up button, and I'll catch you all later. This is Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.